In an industry dominated by cruise liners and foreign-owned resorts, conventional tourism fails to meet the needs of local communities and upholds standards of environmental sustainability. But what are the alternatives? Community-based ecotourism is an example of an alternative which emerged in the late 20th century in response to the concerns surrounding the detrimental impacts of conventional tourism, as well as to address issues such as rural poverty and deforestation in biodiverse regions of the developing world. Having some issues, thank you for your patience.
I think you're in between the remote and the computer, so he's...
Okay. Community-based ecotourism, or CBET, is a blend of ecotourism and community-based tourism, simultaneously emphasizing principles of environmental sustainability and community development. Successful CBET facilitates landsparing by creating opportunities for rural communities to generate income through environmental conservation, thereby reducing the pressure of agricultural expansion and subsistence activities on surrounding ecosystems. When CBET promotes communal land ownership, it can bolster the capacity of local communities to effectively and collaboratively manage and conserve their environmental resources. In addition, CBET can resolve economic insecurity in impoverished communities by diversifying local economies while promoting other low-impact income-generating activities and promoting or complementing traditional livelihoods. Successful community-based ecotourism promotes community development through the creation of local jobs, markets for local products, as well as by facilitating infrastructural improvements, asset building, and community empowerment. However, for CBET to lead to community empowerment, it's important that there's a high degree of local participation in and control over projects, as well as an equitable distribution of benefits and an emphasis on cultural preservation and revitalization. However, the degree to which community-based ecotourism promotes community development and environmental conservation depends on certain key factors. One of the most important factors is the way in which projects are initiated and managed. CBET tends to be characterized by either bottom-up or top-down approaches, meaning that projects are either initiated and managed by the local communities or implemented by external developers. Each approach provides its own distinct benefits and limitations. Typically, CBET development is supported by a variety of actors, including local communities, tourism operators, forest and conservation departments, NGOs, and community development organizations. External actors can play an important role in the development of CBET by providing education, training, financing, and facilitating linkages between communities and global tourist markets. Without this type of support, projects simply may not be economically viable. However, reliance on external aid for support can lead to a host of problems, including reductions in the participation and benefits of local communities, as well as reduced agency for the communities. In some cases, reliance on aid can lead to dependency of communities on the support of external organizations. And if those organizations then withdraw their financial or institutional support, projects are very likely to fail, leading to poor longevity. In worst-case scenarios, externally implemented projects can lack appropriate exit strategies or ways for communities to say no to development schemes. An example of a project in Sinsaves, Namibia exemplifies this point particularly well. A community of San Bushmen initiated the Tree Sleeper Eco Camp to generate revenue for their community through tourism, as well as highlight their cultural practices. However, the community lost their sovereignty or control over the project after applying for and earning an EU-funded grant from the central Namibian government. Their goal was to upgrade their eco camp into a lodge. However, the grant funding and the construction of the lodge remained in the hands of two government ministries. And When the grant expired, construction of the lodge was incomplete. The grant was never renewed, and the community was legally denied the right to finish construction of the lodge themselves. Sadly, this led to a steep decline in the arrival of tourists who disliked the appearance of the unsightly construction zone. This example shows how external control over project development can lead to dependency, disempowerment, and the erosion of local sovereignty, as well as the loss of revenue from tourism. In addition, external developers may overlook existing inequalities within communities or undervalue traditional social systems, leading to increased marginalization, elite capture of project benefits, the erosion of social cohesion, or the loss of traditional decision-making systems. Another example of a case in the rural community of Ekbalong in Yucatan, Mexico illustrates this point. When external developers were designing the project, they utilized the existing state system of land tenure to determine which family members were eligible for participation in the project, essentially defining the community based on the state's terms. However, they wrongly assumed homogeneity within the community, thereby privileging local elites and preventing landless members of the community from participating in and accessing the benefits of the project. This led to increased social tension and marginalization in the community. On top of this, an increasing dependence within the community on tourism and the sale of crafts for income led to a decline in the number of families who practiced traditional maize farming for subsistence. This left certain families in a state of food insecurity in 2009 when the H1N1 epidemic led to a complete halt in the influx of tourists. These issues could have been mitigated if external actors had recognized and understood the existing inequalities within the community, as well as promoted the development of other non-tourism income sources or the maintenance of traditional livelihoods. When considering top-down and bottom-up approaches to community-based ecotourism, it's important to recognize the value of both institutional support and community agency. While some projects may rely on the knowledge and market connections of external actors to succeed, in other instances, communities may be able to develop projects on their own by simply relying on their own resources and markets and connections. While there's no silver bullet to success and empowerment in community-based ecotourism, I argue that the most successful projects blend top-down and bottom-up approaches, simultaneously translating institutional knowledge into local contexts and honing external support to bolster local capacity. In best-case scenarios, this can bolster the self-sufficiency, local autonomy, cultural preservation, and social empowerment of rural communities. Again, conventional tourism fails to meet the needs of local communities and uphold standards of environmental sustainability. But alternatives like community-based ecotourism have their own challenges and limitations. As tourists, if we are concerned enough with the detrimental impacts of conventional tourism and choose to support local tourist businesses, we can also ask simple yet important questions like, who owns this business? Where and to whom does my money go? How are the benefits of this project distributed? And how does a community manage their environmental resources? As tourists, the onus is on us to ask questions, do research, and make informed choices about how we travel and spend our money. After all, the decisions we make can have vastly different consequences for the health of the natural environment and for the well-being of communities around the world. Thank you very much.